switch gears and share this with us here. I've got an article from WSET in Roanoke. Virginia sheriffs push back on proposed gun restrictions, citing Second Amendment rights. So proposed gun control legislation moving through the Virginia General Assembly is drawing pushback from local sheriffs across Central and South Side Virginia, with several taking to social media to pledge to uphold the Constitution and defend Second Amendment rights. The measure under debate ranged from banning assault-style weapons and high-capacity magazines to holding gun manufacturers and dealers accountable under quote, unquote, responsible conduct standards. So local law enforcement officials say the proposals threaten a way of life in rural Virginia, where firearms are commonly used for hunting, sport, and self-defense. So we've seen a lot of gun bills come through this session in the General Assembly, and they aim to essentially make it illegal to sell, illegal to pass down firearms, and if taken to its logical conclusion, after 20 years of not being able to hand firearms down, they sort of become like, well, we just don't have them anymore. There's just no longer, there's no longer a thing. And so now through my reporting and different people I've talked to, if you remember back in the fall of 2019, you had these jurisdictions declaring themselves Second Amendment sanctuaries, saying, well, we're going to uphold the Second Amendment. I believe Stafford County was one of those. Prince William County actually did that under Corey Stewart before he stepped off the board up there. Is that going to become a thing again?
Well, and I don't say this lightly because of the issue, because it's a Republican issue, but yeah, it should. And the reason here is just like last time, these laws will not stand up to United States Supreme Court, to constitutional challenges. So they are. I believe that many of them are just illegal on their face. And if the General Assembly is going to ignore that, then I don't have a problem with individual counties and cities taking these positions. And I don't necessarily like the resist type of mentality, but this is a big deal. The Second Amendment to the Constitution. You can't make it illegal for people to possess guns that just because they're an assault style weapon, and not be able to pass them down to their family members, or for that matter, be able to sell them. I think it's a taking. You're taking away something of value. I have a lot of money invested in my guns. They're going to make me a criminal and take away all my investment. So good for them. That's my response. Good for them, and I hope so. And I hope Stafford. I doubt it, but maybe with 2 law enforcement officers on the board, we can still do the same thing.
No, it's interesting. So Dave Ramsey is a financial guru guy, been around for years, and he always says, do not sell your guns, right? Once you have a firearm in your possession, you keep it in your family, you keep it in your safe, you keep it and pass it down through generations. And it looks like they're and because of that mentality, it's becoming targeted by these bills that many of them, as you said, look to be headed straight for the Supreme Court if they were to pass. And so aren't they just, with this type of legislation, aren't they just driving more people to gun stores? Aren't they giving these firearms dealers essentially a great year, a great Christmas? Isn't that all they're doing with these?
Yeah, no, they are. That's all. And they're virtue signaling, and they're playing to their base. But what we know is these laws don't reduce crime. So it's not going to help the problem they're suggesting they're going to solve. So yes, but eventually, if you made it illegal to buy a magazine over a certain capacity, or an assault style weapon, which means nothing about the functionality of the gun, of course, it's the way it looks, you will eventually curtail that industry in Virginia, or if you make it so we can sue the manufacturers, you can go after that. That also will hurt the industry as an industry.
And the language keeps changing, right? We hear now this year it's assault style weapons. It used to be long guns. Anybody who has fired a weapon before knows anything about it. A handgun is a pistol, and a long gun is a rifle, because of the way the barrel of the gun is rifled and the way it projects the bullet. it seems like even the language in these bills continue to change to kind of match whatever mood that particular lawmaker is in that year.
Yeah, they made some amateur mistakes in their legislation that have been pointed out by a couple of the delegates, like Ren Williams. Yeah, 16 inches is the rifle. A rifle barrel is 16 inches or longer, and then so you can have what looks like a rifle at 12 or 13 inches, but it's actually considered a pistol under law.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll continue. We'll continue to watch that, and if you're watching, let us know, what do you think about these gun bills? Have you been following them? Do you have comments? Do you have guns? Are you worried about the effects that these bills may have on you and your family and your ability to gift, pass down what many consider to be family heirlooms? These guns, obviously for protection, for hunting, but they are. Once they're bought, they're generally kept within the family and passed down for generations. And though some of these legislation in these bills we're seeing were mandatory gun buybacks. I think one of the bills had something in there that says if you're a jurisdiction, you have to come up with a way to either buy back or give back guns. So maybe we'll see more of that as part of the discussion. I know Fredericksburg had one here this past year. Their city council held their first one. We've seen them in voluntary. Yeah, it's good point. Good point. Voluntary give back or buy back, if you will. But we'll continue to track that.
And do you, if you're going to have them answer those questions, do you think these will make you safer? And safer can be, will it cut down on mass murder events, and will it cut down on the overall crime, death and shooting rate? It certainly won't. The evidence is that it will have no effect on the second. It may make it harder for a crazy person to get a gun. But overall, what affects our crime rate and murder rate are other policies that Republicans really win on every time. Just tough on crime policies,